Good morning. My name is Lalit Sharma, and I'm currently pursuing computer programming analyst diploma at Georgian College. I'm making this video for Lab 2 and 3 for the Business Intelligence Tools course at Georgian College. For this lab, like the last lab, I'm still using the COVID-19 data. But as the feedback I got for Lab 1, I'm only using the data for top 10 countries with most number of cases, so that the charts can be a little more simplified, easier to read, and they're not clustered with a lot of information in them. So for this lab, I'm only using the data for these 10 countries: USA, India, Brazil, Russia, Colombia, Peru, Spain, Argentina, Mexico, and South Africa, because they have most number of COVID-19 cases. And this is the raw data that I got from the site called Worldometer. So they have all the live updates of total COVID cases in the world. Uh, and this is the best site I got at internet. And for this thing, for this lab, I'm going to use the data for total cases, total deaths, and total tests that were performed. Now let's get started. First of all, I want to filter out a little bit of data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the pivot table. So for creating a pivot table, just select the data, go into insert, pivot table, create table. I want to rename this table to total tests, and I'm gonna have total tests that were performed in these 10 countries. Now let's go back into total. Let's again create a pivot table, but this time I'm gonna use total cases, and let's rename it again. I'm renaming these sheets just for my clarification so that I know which sheet has which data in them, and I don't have to go through all the sheets to find the data. Like for this thing, we don't have a lot of sheets, but if you have a lot of sheets for a project, it's really hard to get through every sheet to see which data is in which sheet. So it's easier to just rename it. And lastly, I'm gonna create one more pivot table, and I'm gonna rename it to total deaths. And let's go to the select country and total deaths. So you can select any field that is there. So you can select deaths, cases, total number of cases for 1 million and stuff like that. So you can select any data, but I just needed the data for total tests, total cases, and total deaths. And now let's create the tables for these things. So what you can do is select the entire entire rows, and the entire information. Go into tables, and you can select any table you want. I want to use a column table. I can cut it up, and I can create a new sheet, and I'm going to rename it to chart, so that I know that that this sheet has all the charts. And in view, I don't need the grid lines in the back, so I'm just going to delete them, and I can paste the data. Let's make it a little bigger so that it's easier to read, and let's rename it so that we know which chart it is. Total tests performed. Now we know this chart has all the tests ever performed. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's do the same thing for these two, total cases and total deaths. Insert. I'm going to use a pie chart, cut, chart, paste, and make it a little bigger, and rename it total cases, home. Let's increase the size a little bit. Increase the size a little bit. 28. And now for the last one, I'm gonna use a chart, bar chart. So basically, I'm using different types of charts so that I don't have the both charts like two charts of same kind. But if you have a lot of information, you can use the same type of charts. So let's make it a little bigger again, and let's rename it. Total deaths and increase the size a little bit. Perfect. Now we can see we have the data chart for total tests performed, total cases, and total deaths. From this information, we can know that how many tests were performed in these countries, how many cases are in this country, and how many total deaths are in this country.